countries, coal industry urged to transition to clean energy. Countries belonging to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, are urged to completely phase out coal by 2030 and others by 2040 as part of global efforts to transition to renewable energy, the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said. There are some 38 countries in the group, with a majority ranked as very high-income economies. Guterres said the climate agenda is being undermined and countries are backtracking on implementing programs to keep the planet's temperature at 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Current policies are taking the world to a 2.8-degree temperature rise by the end of the century. That spells catastrophe,
he said after holding discussion with climate leaders.
Yet, the collective response remains pitiful. We are hurtling towards disaster, eyes wide open, with far too many willing it all on wishful thinking, unproven technologies, and silver bullet solutions. The world must phase out fossil fuels in a just and equitable way, moving to leave oil, coal and gas in the ground where they belong, and massively boosting renewable investment in a just transition.
Guterres said the transition cannot happen overnight and he has put forward an acceleration agenda to supercharge these efforts.
Transition plans are precisely to provide a roadmap for a managed, orderly process that guarantees affordability, access, and energy security. How do we get there? Our acceleration agenda calls on governments to commit to no new coal, complete phasing out coal by 2030 in OECD countries and 2040 elsewhere, and all international coal funding, both public and private, and then licensing or funding of new oil and gas, stopping the expansion of existing oil and gas reserves, and supporting the just transition of the impacted developing countries. Ensure net zero electricity generation by 2035 in developed countries and 2040 everywhere else.
The fossil fuel industry and its enablers are urged.
The world needs the industry to apply its massive resources to drive, not obstruct, the global move from fossil fuels to renewables and reap the benefits if they themselves lead the transition. Last year, the oil and gas industry reaped a record $4 trillion windfall in net income. Yet for every dollar it spends on oil and gas drilling and exploration, only 4 cents went to clean energy and carbon capture combined. Trading the future for 30 pieces of silver is immoral. I call on all fossil fuel companies to present credible, comprehensive and detailed new transition plans fully in line with all the recommendations of my high-level expert group on net zero pledges.
UN Under-Secretary-General for Peace Operations Jean-Pierre Lacroix warned the 15-nation UN Security Council at a meeting on June 13 that action must be taken to avert ever-worsening climate change impacts on peace and security. An estimated 3.5 billion people are living in climate hotspots, and related peace and security risks are only set to heighten.
So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, given the growing linkages of climate change, peace and security, as well as the broader changes to the conflict dynamics in the areas in which we work, we must continue to adapt to climate change.
Lacroix said that within the past several years, most UN peace operations have faced greater dangers and political challenges.
Of the 16 countries that are the most climate vulnerable, 9 of them host a UN field mission, namely the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Sudan, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Somalia, Mali, Haiti, and Yemen. It is also important to note that the majority of UN peace operations are deployed in contexts that are both highly climate exposed and characterized by high levels of gender inequality.